Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everyone is having a great Monday so far, or at least trying to have a great Monday. Let's see what we have here in the stream. We have, let's see, Capybara, Caden, as well as Sam, Ben, and Anna Edits, and everyone else who is in the stream who I may have forgotten to welcome, or if you may just be watching, not chatting, and or just now tuning in. Glad to have you in here. The Weather Warrior, Grumpy as well. And yeah, let's go right ahead and switch on over to our main scene. Well, I guess we'll switch to this one for now. See if everything's good to go. It is the 26th, so I got something right today. That's good. So yeah, we're going to be covering a tornado watch that was actually just issued by the Storm Prediction Center out here in portions of Texas. Not sure how long we'll be live today, but I at least want to cover when these storms are semi-discrete, like how they are firing right now. The greatest tornado threat will definitely be over the next 2 to 2.5 hours, especially with this storm here just to the southeast of San Angelo. It is locked on to a outflow boundary that was released from an MCS earlier this morning in northeast Texas. So that boundary was from northeast Texas to southwest Texas, and it started to just stall out right in this area. And thus, you could see we did actually get an upgrade to an enhanced risk today, level 3 out of 5 there, as well as they upped that tornado risk. That tornado risk did get upped to a 5%, which I was expecting. After I looked at models this morning, it definitely needed this 5%. So no shocker there with the 5% tornado risk and the tornado watch that has been issued all the way down into San Antonio, Austin. Let's see, as well as what is that, like Divine? Yeah, Divine, Charlotte in South Central Texas there. So pretty large risk for severe weather in terms of size today. We've got a very large slight risk for severe weather. They expanded that. This might be the new outlook, actually. There's a chance this is the new outlook. I don't remember that slight risk being that far off to the east. I guess it was, yeah. They added that slight risk. I was so focused on the 5% that they added at 12:30, I didn't notice they pushed a new slight risk all the way into western Alabama at that update as well. So very large slight risk for severe weather with that main region we're going to be talking about, really focused over south central Texas, around the Sterling City area, all the way back down into Austin and San Antonio, Texas. So pretty large risk today. Like I said, in terms of size there, in terms of how high end it is, we definitely have the chance for a couple very large hail events. We already have a PDS severe in effect for the next hour of 2.75 inch in diameter. I do want to apologize for not being live yesterday. I felt a bit rough about not streaming the event yesterday. We missed quite a lot of activity. The one of the tornado of the year contenders out there in New Mexico, very photogenic, barely damaging stovepipe tornado in southeastern New Mexico the other day. That was yesterday. We also had near historic hail. I believe measured at around or maybe a little less than 6 inch in diameter in Texas. We got a tornado warning that had a tag for 5 inch hail. So quite a lot of crazy weather yesterday. Also had 80-mile-an-hour winds into the late evening hours yesterday, but it was a very long duration event for severe weather. You know, we would have been live for probably 6 to 10 hours had I started the live stream early like I normally do. But yeah, I decided to just not go live and just stick with spending the day with my family watching the races. So yeah, 2 fantastic races yesterday. It was definitely very eventful Sunday, a very eventful Sunday in the weather world and also in the racing world. So very action-packed Sunday yesterday, and we're going to keep seeing action here in the weather world for the next couple days. We do have an enhanced risk today. We have a slight risk, double barrel slight risk for severe weather tomorrow, and we actually just got a categorical risk upgrade to slight risk for Wednesday. So we do still have our very active mesoscale pattern that is ongoing. A lot of these mesoscale patterns have big time hail, especially if they are located in Texas or New Mexico. That's where this time of year, late May into early mid-June, we have a lot of mesoscale features. So that means very subtle forcing, very small areas of jet stream, not very high end for tornadoes. A lot of them end up being the isolated tornado or two. Possibly one day could have a few tornadoes, but majority of the time it's big hail. A lot of the time it's big time hail that we end up dealing with out of these cells. So they did just downgrade this severe back down to 1.75 inch in diameter and 60-mile-an-hour winds. This storm will have the greatest tornado threat over the next hour or so until we see more storms fire up around it. Not really expecting a big tornado day today. Definitely would not be shocked with at least a tornado or two actually occurring today. So just not expecting a lot of tornadic activity out of this day. Just really big time hail. DFW, there's a lot of lightning and some heavy rain heading into the DFW, but I don't expect the main hazards to get up there into the Dallas area or around Dallas. Show you guys a quick model run real quick. Show you all a model run. So this is your new HRRR, really depicting quite well of what we're seeing here. So at 4 o'clock, which is now, it depicts a thunderstorm firing west of San Angelo. It actually fired to the southeast of San Angelo. So we should see quite a few supercells fire over the next 2 hours, and that will be our peak tornado threat. And then by 7 o'clock, that tornado threat is already decreasing as these storms congeal up into a very messy cluster. Still could see a few tornadoes out of this cluster, but the main tornado risk will definitely end up being from 4 o'clock Eastern in literally 7 minutes all the way till about 7 o'clock Eastern. So you're looking at a good 2-3 hour window for the greatest tornado threat, and that will be really focused across the San Angelo area. So let me just show you. So this is what I had earlier from a site. So this is what we're dealing with today. So we're dealing with up to 4-inch hail, 80-mile-an-hour winds, and a few tornadoes all being possible, mainly from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern. That prime time is from 4 p.m. to actually 7 p.m. Eastern time. And you can see very large area that I highlighted here for the risk area that we're watching today. I post these on Twitter almost daily. Didn't get one out yesterday because I was just all day watching races, literally all day from 12 o'clock all the way till 11, no, 12:30 a.m. It's a very long race day. So the areas I think are at the utmost highest risk is like this vicinity in here, right in the middle. But that whole area, this whole area here, is at risk for very large hail today. And I base that off of a couple model runs as well as just also current analysis. And I've only had one not verify. I've only been wrong once so far. In the last like 10 to 15 days, I've only had one be wrong, and that was the one in Oklahoma 2 days ago. That risk never got going. Let me go back over to here. Okay, let's go back to the current radar. Yeah, I don't want to use radar mega. I want to use this for the current radar, weather-wise. Yeah, so you can see the splitting is happening here. So that is a indication of an eagle updraft. So basically where one updraft splits this way and the other one splits up this way. Very, very classic sign of an intensifying supercell. On the next scan, you can see now we're starting to see some blue pixels there. So that's getting up into the 60 dBz range. Yeah, 67 dBz there. So this is definitely dropping around at 2-inch in diameter hail. Kind of split between it. You know, they've warned it for 2-inch, they've warned it for 2.75. It's back down to 1.75. It keeps fluctuating in that hail intensity. But I mean, it's definitely, you know, one thing I notice, sorry to cut off mid-sentence there, your outflow boundary is not in a good spot. That is not a good spot. So what that's doing is that's actually creating cool winds. Your outflow boundary can differentiate. I can't get the word out. It can change temperatures, right? So it can, on the west side of it, northwest side of it, it could be cooler. Southeast side of it, it could be warmer. And that could be undercutting its inflow. And that is a good sign for a lower end tornado threat with this. So as a chaser, right off the bat, if I see that, I'm like, don't know if I should stick with this storm. That outflow boundary is undercutting this storm here. So not too sure if this is really going to be a tornadic supercell or not. That is a quite vigorous undercut there. That is definitely something that's happened in the past here over the last few days that has prevented a more notable tornado threat with these mesoscale days. So we'll keep an eye on that very closely. This is west of Eden in Texas. So we'll need to monitor it closely, see if it does try to rotate. But right now, big time hail issue, isolated 60 mile-an-hour winds. Let's see, Stephenville, Texas, around 4 a.m. Yeah, there was a lot of rough storms all over Texas. I mean, really, really everywhere in Texas was hit by storms. Maybe except for like the southwest side. I don't know if the southwest side got much activity. But I mean, nearly the whole state was under the risk for severe storms yesterday. Yeah, it seems like the southwest side of the state didn't see much yesterday. But for those who are in the southwest side of Texas near Fort Davis, you guys will get severe weather, most likely on Wednesday. So, I mean, like today, it's around south of Fort Worth and back towards San Angelo and Austin, San Antonio. Day 2, it's going to go closer to the Texas-Mexico border. Day 3, it's going to shift back up towards west of Lubbock. And then yesterday, it was this whole area in here yesterday. It was a very large risk, all the way from Amarillo, Lubbock, back towards the Texarkana area for yesterday's event. One thing WeatherWise did implement recently, they've changed their warnings. They've changed it to an outline feature, so you can change the outline color. I have mine set to white, so it allows for you to see the warnings a bit better. So, you know, last time I mentioned it, it was crayony. I didn't like the crayony look to them. Still a little crayony, but at least I can see them a lot better now, so it's improving a lot. I had 75 mile-an-hour winds last night, TRG. Jeez, Caden. A couple trees got blown down. Wow. Yeah, not so fun. Not so fun. I like weather and I like severe storms, but once it starts to damage things, that's when I'm like, okay, this can stop now. No, thank you. Like when I got a near or over 100-mile-an-hour wind gust, we didn't get to record it because I wasn't big on weather then. But it was definitely a near 100-mile-an-hour wind gust that we got. It was sometime in the early 2010s. Will I have a tornado tonight? Ben, do I look like I can tell the future? I could try. I could try, but I ain't gonna be able to tell you if your specific house is gonna get a tornado tonight. Um, let's see. I'd be pretty surprised if you don't get at least light rain. Looks like the main chance for you is gonna be like 11 o'clock Central. 11 Central. Tornado threat, I don't think will be that high. Are you even in the 5%? Yeah, I didn't think so. Yeah, I think that tornado risk is really going to fall off after the sun sets. Our tornado risk is going to get very, very minimal. So our prime tornado threat is from right now, 4 o'clock Eastern, literally just changed to 4 p.m. Eastern time, all the way till 7 o'clock. And then after that, we still could see a few tornadoes, but I don't think it's our peak activity. But still could see a few tornadoes from 7 p.m. all the way until about 10 p.m., maybe 11 p.m. Eastern. And then as it approaches San Antonio towards midnight Eastern time, 11 p.m. Central time, that tornado risk is going to fall off quickly. So I don't expect much tornadic activity outside of mainly like this area right in here. That's where I'm expecting the main activity for today. I'm going to watch for any cells to fire off of the boundary here near San Antonio. But nothing has been successful so far, so that's good news. Bad news for Ben, but good news for the general public. Ben wants to get some light rain today. Yeah, the HRRR says supercells were already firing around San Antonio right now at 20Z. If you look right there, it's 2002Z. Go back to our main storm up here. Yeah, as long as that outflow boundary is still quite prominent in front of it, pretty potent. Is the other word I was looking for there. Prominent. I guess you could use that word too. But as long as that's there, this storm's not going to be a notable tornado threat. Now, maybe as that outflow boundary weakens, it could increase. But most likely that outflow boundary is going to have to fully fall apart or slow down and attach to the area of interest for tornadic activity, which is on the southern side of our storm. Still a really good butterfly split supercell, so this likely would be trying very, very, very hard to produce a tornado if it didn't have that outflow boundary undercutting it right now. Hello, Johnny. Welcome to the stream. Also, more storms firing up in Garden City and instantly becoming clustered. Instantly becoming clustered there. So, yeah, we're just going to continue to keep a very close eye on these storms here. Did they just... Hold on. Let me go to the SPC Day 1 Outlook. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, they just introduced a completely different slight risk for severe weather. A completely different slight risk was just issued all the way back up into northern Texas, almost into Oklahoma City. That's how far north that new risk has been introduced for. And that looks to be for the potential of an overnight MCS, which is currently way back here in New Mexico. So these storms in north central New Mexico are going to slowly strengthen as they go towards the panhandle of Texas and then eventually into northwest Oklahoma tonight. Probably damaging winds is the main threat. Yeah, damaging winds, hail. Oh, well. Hold on a second. What? This is not correct. Because it says your wind risk is only for this area, but your slight risk is also for Oklahoma and northeast panhandle of Texas too. So that's not correct. It hasn't fully gotten the new outlook yet. Yeah, here's the full new outlook. So the overall risk That means tornado warning. That is going to be in Mississippi. And oh my goodness, yep, definitely a really good area of rotation there. Just to the, let's see, just to the northeast of Jackson in Mississippi. Let me go over to GR2 analysis real quick. Let's see. That may be actively producing a tornado. There's a chance we have a tornado on the ground right now. Pretty good chance at that. That is definitely a tornado on the ground. That is definitely a tornado on the ground for sure. That's looking at 1.4 tilt, so that's about 1,000 feet up into the atmosphere there. So definitely a tornado on the ground here in Mississippi. And I'm assuming that might have just been them updating the polygon to observed. Sure is. So they've just observed that warning. So tornado is now on the ground here. Just 10 miles northeast of Brandon in Mississippi, moving east at 30 miles per hour. So there is a tornado on the ground. Yep, so now an observed warning. We're going to switch over to our confirmed overlay. Because that is definitely a tornado on the ground. Maybe even having a bit of a reflectivity debris ball there. And this is already lofted debris. 5,000 feet up, so it's already lofted debris very, very high up. So we'll continue to watch this storm extremely closely. If you are in the path of this, make sure you're in your safe spot. Forkville Branch, 10 miles to the northeast of Brandon in Mississippi. We've got a likely strong tornado ongoing right now. An observed warning is in place, which means a confirmed tornado is on the ground in the warned area, which in this case, switch right back over here. So this is where your tornado is located, right here. See that green triangle? That is a threshold. That's your threshold, which indicates an area of rotation on this radar site. And yeah, that is definitely a pretty strong tornado. Yeah, that's WeatherWise's beep. My GR2 is broken. It is broken, so... Or my GR Earth is broken, so I've canceled my subscription. I might try to renew it, but we might not get our little beeps back. There might be a way I can manually implement the beeps, but if we have like a big outbreak and we start getting more than like 3 tornado warnings, it's going to be very difficult for me to keep up. So I've fully switched on over to WeatherWise for the beeps. I know, you guys probably aren't going to like the beep as much, but unfortunately softwares do break, and GR Earth is broken right now for me. Gracious day. I'll wait for that new velocity scan. That is definitely still a big debris signature. That is definitely still a large CC drop. There is still a tornado on the ground here, lofting debris very, very high up. I mean, we're talking almost 7,000 feet at this point. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. So there's your debris signature right there. And that matches up with your velocity couplet. So definitely still a tornado on the ground here. Just to the southwest of Branch. No, that was GR2 analysis, and this is WeatherWise here. Radar Omega, probably, you're going to see a lot less of Radar Omega. You're going to start seeing a whole lot less of Radar Omega on this channel. When things get extremely chaotic, there's a chance that we go to it, but weather-wise is just better. It's just simply better. This is Radar Omega here. And its scans are very off. So actually, I want to go check that on weather-wise since its scans aren't extremely late all the time. Look at that. Both new scans. So this is an area of corruption for velocities right there. That's where your outflow boundary is. Wow. Wow. I am speechless right here. I'm actually speechless for this storm. Not because of how it looks, but because of how it's dying out. It is in a very primed environment, and it's just dying out. Like, I think it thinks it's in, like, Alabama or something. Like, dude, you're literally in Texas. This is literally, like, a very potent environment for severe storms. It's just dying out. I wish I could tell you how potent, but mesoanalysis is down. Hey, it's back up there. I mean, you're looking at 4,000 instability. 4,000 instability. I'm shocked this thing's dying out. And I mean, it's got to be because of that outflow boundary leaving a cool pool behind or something. Still an observed warning back out here in Mississippi, going just to the northwest of Morton, Mississippi. Yeah, big plot twist, that's for sure, Sam. The plot twist is Mississippi just had a strong tornado and Texas's storms are dying out. Like, what? Look at all that debris. That is a lot of debris being lofted there. This is looking 3,500 feet. That's a lot of debris, dude. That was no weak little tornado. This thing really picked up some trees. Hopefully it didn't hit any homes. Let's go to probability of debris. So, yeah, I mean, this... Dude, hold on a second. This, radar's thinking this might have been on the ground unwarned for a while. I don't fully disagree with that. That's a little tricky. I don't think it touched down until this scan, personally. I think this is when it touched down right here at 1958Z. If not, then it was for sure on the ground at 2002. It was definitely on the ground at 2002. Very, very, very obvious CC drop at 2002. But even going back further than that, you could still make out some CC there. It's just I can't confirm if that is corruption or not. Look how high this debris goes. I mean, we're literally talking like... Let's see. We're talking at least a minimum of 6,500 feet. But it could have lofted debris as high as... I'd say as high as 9,000 feet. So between 6,500 and 9,000 feet is how high debris was lofted. Now it is likely lifted. Likely no longer on the ground. What is this environment? I imagine not very favorable. That is an extremely rare scenario there. To get a tornado of likely that magnitude with this crappy of an environment, I am quite shocked. Let's check our cheat code. Your cheat code is something that could really help with that. There you go. Yeah, there's like it's like barely any vorticity. I am blown away. It was like right here on that edge. And you can see there's very little veering with height here. Very little veering in the lower levels. Quite horrible hodograph, except for in the mid-levels, but lower levels is garbage. And it's not a very well elongated, well-constructed hodograph either. 1,500K. See, that's plentiful. But just that wind shear, I mean, not a lot of shear there. 52, 0 to 1 kilometer shear. Like I said, normally that's at 150 plus for a tornado of that magnitude. So I'm quite impressed with that. I hope that this was just a tree ripper and didn't hit any homes. Let's go see how that happened. I want to go see how that interacted. Let's see here. Just normal. There's no like wild boundary interaction or anything. It just started rotating and then dropped a tornado. Very normal. And that is an update to a tornado warning. So it is back down to radar indicated. Like I said, our storms out here in Texas are struggling. Struggling, which is a big old 360 right there. So, first tornado of the day goes to Mississippi. And first strong tornado of the day, which we weren't really expecting any strong tornadoes, also goes to Mississippi. Quite crazy. Let me go back to Weatherwise. Weatherwise added a new occupacity feature. I don't think it's as easy to access as Radar Omegas. Let me check. It may be. They're adding new stuff. I can't even keep up. They're adding it too fast for me. Oh, it's actually much easier to access than Radar Omegas. So Radar Omegas, you have to go through like 4 settings. This, you just click on the radar site, which you can see the edge of it on the bottom left side of the screen. Just scroll down and there's occupacity, third to the bottom. Just gave me a warning. It said it's so low, I won't be able to see data. Yep, I know, that's the point. I mean, all this just looks like trees, but there's definitely some houses. For sure, some homes. Let's go ahead and loop this. So this is when it was its strongest. Let's see if there's anything in this intersection right in there between those 2 frames. I do see a house here, but the velocity couplet shows that it probably would have stayed barely off to the south of that house going this way. So I don't see many homes it could have hit. There's definitely a chance that it hit some houses out here that may not be on Radar Omega's, or rather Weatherwise's satellite, or either one of them. I don't know when this imagery was updated. But I don't see any very obvious hits. This is likely near where the tornado lifted. You can see it looks like it stayed south of that house, south of this. So I just really see this as a tree ripper. Hopefully it was nothing more than just a tree ripper. Let's go back to GR2 analysis real quick. I'm never getting rid of GR2 analysis, by the way. This is going to be a radar site that I use till the day I die. There's not going to be any software that I can use over GR2. GR2 is just, GR2 analysis is the best. There's a lot of dry air in the thermodynamic profile with your Texas cell. Really? I didn't do a sounding in Texas, I don't think. Okay, there you go. Hold on, let me clear this up. I got too many things open. All right, let's look at that together. All right, so this is in front of our storm in Texas. You could see okay photograph, definitely not good by standard, but okay photograph. I don't really see much of a dry air issue. That little bit is really not going to be of an annoyance to a thunderstorm. The big issue for dry air is when it goes like this. That's when it's an issue for thunderstorms. If it goes like that beneath the 700 millibar, if it does that little curvature there, like what a capping does with temperature inversion. But a little subtle change like that, and that's the atmosphere actually gaining moisture there as it goes closer to the surface. So you can see here, we got to kind of reverse it. So this is very high up in the atmosphere. So this is drier, and then it gets better, 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 better. Little bit worse, better, 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 better. And then, of course, the surface. My guess would be just overall shear. Just the fact that there's so little wind shear out here. But I think a big plane is that outflow boundary. All right. Believe they canceled that tornado warning. I'll just double check with weatherwise here. All right. Yes, they have. So we will switch over to this scene. Yeah, I'm gonna vote the outflow boundary killed it. That's what I'm gonna go for. That's what I'm gonna go for. I'm voting it was outflow boundary there. There's not a hurricane forming just yet. There's a chance it does turn into a hurricane, but right now we are expecting a tropical depression to form very late this week into the weekend, and then we are nearly guaranteed to see a tropical storm form sometime mid next week. It could make a run for a hurricane. Um, Actually, that wording's got to be wrong. Yeah, the middle of this week, my bad. We're expecting a tropical depression in like 2 days, 2 to 3 days, and then a tropical storm around or even just before Thursday. And then if it does make a run for a hurricane, it will probably be Thursday night or Friday. And it seems like it's going to stay away from any land. So if you're in Mexico or anywhere in the U.S., I don't think this will be an issue. It's just going to be an issue for the fishies. So outflow behind it doesn't hurt the storm much. Outflow in front of it, it depends. Now your outflow is in a pretty good spot. So if we go ahead and pause this, I'll show you. So your outflow boundary is now right in here. That's good. That's pretty good for a storm. Before, it was quite well in front of it. It was like out here. So it's not that far in front of it anymore. It's still a little far in front, but it's getting to a much better position now for that outflow boundary. For outflow boundaries, though, typically you want the outflow boundary to be connected to the southern end of the storm like that, or the outflow boundary behind the storm. If it's in front, that can cause issues with temperature inversions or cooling or just cutting off the storm's inflow. Could be multiple different things. Ethan, you're not going to get any storms. I might be able to spare you a rain shower or two, but no severe storms for you. I'm going to keep them all down here in Virginia and North Carolina. Let's see here. New meso analysis here. I want to check the wind shear, see if that's improved at all. But yeah, this is why today's like a 5% tornado risk day. It's definitely not a guaranteed tornado day, but I do anticipate at least a tornado at some point today. Well, we already had one in Mississippi, so. Yeah, but that lower level helicity is just too minimal. 40 is just not going to cut it. See, now that could be a little bit more of an issue here. The newest meso analysis does show a bit more dry air. Like what I think Capybara was pointing out, I believe. So if we go ahead and take a new one there, it's not that bad. And it's still so minimal. I don't think that would be like a crazy issue. Now, that would be more of an issue. And see, that's just to the northeast side of the storm. So there's definitely some dry air intrusion that could be hurting the storm below the 700 millibar. But like I said, it has to be pretty sharp. I don't know if that's sharp enough to cut it off. I don't know if that's sharp enough. Also, the fact that you have high 60 dew points and low to mid 80 temps. I mean, what that's a 14-degree temperature dew point spread there, so that's getting pretty high up there. It could simply just be an elevated storm and not be able to rotate much. It's starting to strengthen again. You can see we're starting to see some blue and even some white DBZ values here. Starting to increase on the storm, so it's on a strengthening trend now. Let's see here. Arclitex. Pretty sure you got pretty rough storms early this morning. Tonight doesn't look like much more than some heavy rain. Light to heavy rain. I don't think you'll get much more than that. And then tomorrow you look fairly clear. Some isolated light to moderate rain as well, but very, very isolated. Very hit or miss. Somebody tomorrow in southwestern Arkansas will see rain, but it's very hit or miss on who it will be. And then Wednesday, it looks like Wednesday afternoon there may be some rain chances. So I don't think there's much of a severe chance. If we go to the outlooks, you are in a marginal today. You're on the edge of a marginal. Depends on exactly where you're located. But there's not a very high severe chance. Let's go back to actually Mississippi here. So we're going to have to watch out for these little areas of velocity increase here. So there's one north of Bay Springs and one barely south of Bay Springs. We'll switch to our analysis radar so we can get a bit of a closer look. Doesn't look like they're really rotating. I would watch this one here closer. North of Bay Springs in south central Mississippi for a very, very low wind tornado threat. Very low wind tornado threat. But it is a non-zero threat, so we'll keep an eye on that best we can. Mainly just winds and isolated large hail around an inch in diameter up here in Santa Fe, north central New Mexico. Don't expect much of a tornado risk up here, but you never know. I mean, we saw it yesterday, southeast New Mexico, potential tornado of the year, so anything can happen. Especially in New Mexico. I've seen some crazy, crazy boundary and mountain interactions that have led to some absurd storms. Colorado and New Mexico are probably some of the most impressive states for meteorological just interactions with thunderstorms. And they're so close. I mean, literally, look, there's Colorado. There's New Mexico. So it's like right here, just barely east of the Rockies. Nearly on the Rockies. New severe for Garden City in Texas. Mainly winds and isolated large hail up to about 1.5 inches in diameter being the main threats there. Your tornado watch, don't even think I went over the probabilities. So this is where your tornado watch is out here in the highlighted purple and white. From San Antonio, Austin, back up towards Sterling City. I believe I did mention where it was, but I don't think I mentioned the probabilities. We'll go to Radar Omega for the probabilities here. So the overall tornado threat, fairly low. It is a 40-20 there, so that means a 40% chance of a tornado or two. So we got a pretty good chance of seeing one tornado somewhere in the watch. 20% chance that one of those tornadoes is an EF2 to EF5 tornado, which is classified as a strong plus tornado. So a very low chance that we see a strong tornado today. Not impossible, but a low chance. Main issue, definitely damaging winds will be one of the main issues here. 50% chance, a 50% chance of seeing 10 or more 58 plus mile an hour wind events, and a 50% chance at least one of those is greater than 75 miles per hour. Hail is the biggest risk by a milestone. An 80% chance we see 10 events of 1 inch or greater in diameter hail, and a 50% chance that one of those events is greater than 2 inch in diameter hail. So a very high hail threat, a mid-tier wind threat, and then still an elevated but fairly low tornado threat. It is a fairly low-end tornado watch. We'll likely see at least one tornado, but anything more than that is probably going to be a little bit harder to achieve with these storms. Hurricane forecast wind. Marcus, I'm hoping Thursday. I'm hoping this Thursday. I am hoping to get it recorded. It may not be the fancily edited hurricane season forecast. I may just have to just hit record and go and give my thoughts on hurricane season. But I will likely attempt to get it out this Thursday. I'm not going to promise because I don't know what else is going to pop up on my schedule. I've been a very busy person the last week or so. So we'll see if I can get it done on Thursday. Thursday means never. If I was lucky, yeah. Thursday means never. But I'm not going to promise I'll get it out on Thursday. I have a bit more research I want to do, and then just compile all that together and then go for it. But I'm going to make a video on it for sure. I'll definitely make a video on it. Now, this stuff is staying as mainly still just a hail threat, isolated wind threat. Tornado threat is fairly low right now. Well, if not this Thursday, then yeah, it's probably going to have to be next Thursday, but I don't really want to wait much longer. I really didn't want to wait this long. We've had so much severe weather, and it's just been non-stop severe weather and non-stop IRL things. I haven't had a break. I haven't had a break from everything to just where I could sit down and hit record. That's why I haven't been able to get any videos out. I haven't even had an hour to spare to do a YouTube video, let alone 4 hours for a hurricane season forecast. That's why I've been splitting it up. I think it was like almost 10 days ago I started research on it. And I'm still not even done. I'm still not even done. What is New Mexico doing? Trying to produce 1 inch hail and 60 mile an hour winds near Santa Fe. Radar sites out here you got to be very careful with because you've got these things here. Mountains, forest mountains, mountains in a forest, big mountain in a forest. And your radars are scanning right over that stuff. like right over that stuff. This radar placement, this radar placement's pretty rough. This radar is not useful for anything past here. It cannot see anything this way at all, unless you go very high up and tilt. That's a pretty rough radar placement, but it was either on this side or this side. Should have stuck it on top of the mountain. Just flop a radar right there. See if there's anything happening here in Mississippi. So still that little area of rotation north of Bay Springs. Not an imminent tornado at all. Mainly 60-mile-an-hour winds. Not really expecting much more than that. They did just go tour possible on it, though. So we do know that a tornado could develop out of this storm. So if you are in Meriden, Mississippi, Stonewall, Quitman, Hickory, in eastern Mississippi, make sure you are indoors, away from doors and windows, and it would be a good idea to be close to your safe spot, just in case. Northwest Arkansas in the near future. So for today, they actually dropped Arkansas from any risk. Arkansas used to be in a general thunderstorm risk. They pushed that very far to the south of central Arkansas. So today, not expecting, I don't even think you're expecting any rain at this point. And maybe some light rain showers today, as you can see here, but no thunderstorms. So light rain today. Tomorrow, things should stay off to your southeast, mainly Little Rock pointing south and east. And you probably won't see much more than some isolated light rain. Maybe, worst case scenario, you hear some thunder. Then going on into Wednesday, it looks like things will stay to your south. So all 3 of these days, mainly just rain and an isolated thunderstorm possible. But anything severe doesn't seem to be an issue. Everything looks to be staying off to the south. I'm sure you'll get a risk eventually, but hey, I know Arkansas is really wanting a break, so enjoy the break from severe storms while you have it. Because it won't last forever, unfortunately. You guys have had a very, very active tornado season. Look at me over here circling like 20 different things. Didn't clear any of them off. Ben just said, honestly, we're moving away from Dixie events. Y'all, we had a high risk in Mississippi and Alabama. One of the more potent environments Dixie Alley has seen in recent years. And this dude just said we're moving away from Dixie events. That risk March 15th could have been triple, if not quadruple as bad as it was. It was already a horrible event out of the long track to EF4 in southern Mississippi, but it could have been 3 to 4 times worse than that. That's how potent our environment was on March 15th. I'm not going to forget some of the HRRR runs that showed. I mean, my jaw was dropping. That was one of the first days that I ever thought a 45 significant tornado risk was actually a possibility. But thank goodness a bunch of overconvection and the warm sector not being as large as we expected. Warm front didn't lift as far north as we thought. A lot of underperformance, a lot of small underperformance factors came together to decrease that day's potential and its overall outcome. But they went high risk because there was no big bust factor. And there wasn't. You know, there was nothing that could go wrong to the point where, or there was nothing that could go wrong with the environment to the point where we wouldn't see a tornado on March 15th. Yeah, we are moving away from Dixie events this year for the moment. We're in May, buddy. Dixie is early March through like late April. We are in late May. Late May, we are starting to move into the high plains. We're moving into mesoscale days in Texas and New Mexico and high plains insanity. Speaking of high plains insanity, buckle up for about June 5th or so. We should see a lot of severe weather in the northern tier of the country. So, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois. Looks like chances for severe weather will increase towards the beginning of June. Also, I have to show y'all this. I was going to include it in the hurricane season forecast, but I really don't want to because that's supposed to be for hurricane season, not like an update or something. So I will include it now for a live stream. We are watching the potential for an area of interest to develop in the Caribbean and near the Gulf as we go into the middle of June. Some ensembles are starting to light up there, right on the edge there of the Gulf and the Caribbean, and it's on the this is the Euro, but it's also on the GFS. I don't believe we're going to get much out of it, but it is going to be something to pay attention to. It could be our first little AOI. I don't expect much from it, but it could rain in the Caribbean in mid-June. And that rain might have a bit of a spinny bit with it that might allow for it to try to increase in heavier rain showers. You can see the GFS 300 hours out does have a little spinny guy right there, June 9th, just off the Yucatan Peninsula. I don't expect like a tropical storm or a hurricane or something like that, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get like a 10% AOI in the middle of June or something. Weird. NATOcast just went 10%. Pretty big 10% in South Central Texas. NATOcast, I don't see a way how that verifies. With what we are looking at right now, I don't see a way how that's correct. Storms fired very early. Storms fired at what? Like 3? HRRR didn't have storms firing till 5. That's a big, big difference there. One of the main reasons I point that out is because storms have already fired, so that means the environment's already being used up. So what the NATOcast is thinking, what it may be thinking, is storms fire at 6 o'clock when the environment is probably the most prime, and then it takes up that environment and produces tornadoes. But instead, they have fired 2 to 3 hours earlier, and instead they're big hailers, isolated winds, and very low tornado threat. This is a PDS severe out here, by the way, southwest of Eden in South Central Texas. That's a PDS severe again, that means a particularly dangerous situation, in this case for hail. So you should be away from doors and windows. Don't go outside. Do not go outside. Let's see what any of this stuff shows real quick. All right. The amount of hype I've already seen around this upcoming system is insane. I forgot how bad misinformation is in hurricane season. It is horrible. Dude. Yeah, stay off of YouTube, everybody. Stay off of YouTube. Like, I don't even think it's this bad in winter. I've already seen somebody say tropical storm. Another person say a hurricane's possible in the Caribbean in the middle of June. It ain't that crazy of a signal. It's like 3 ensembles out of the 30 plus ensembles we have. It's not that big. Let me go back over here. I'm going to go to satellite real quick. So this is the AOI we're watching. See a very large area of clouds. I know, right? So unique. Large area of clouds. I bet you haven't seen that before. This cloud is, they're spinning. They're starting to spin. I don't believe there's any consolidated low pressure yet. If there was, they would declare an invest. Oh, crap. They just declared an invest. Wait, they actually just declared an invest. Wow. Okay, yeah. Invest has actually just been declared. Look at that. Well, looky there. So we got our first invest of the season. So there's your GFS ensembles. And they take it relatively out to sea here. Looks like a tropical storm is definitely a possibility on Thursday into Friday. We could definitely get a low tier tropical storm. Yeah, most of the guidance does take there's only 4 right now, but all of them have it to tropical storm plus in the Eastern Pacific. I want to take a look at satellite imagery, Eastern Pacific. Is there a meso possibly out there? I don't think there's a meso. Here, you know what we'll do? Watch this. Weather nerds. Eastern Pacific. Create our own little sector. Look at that. That's why I love weather nerds. Literally can just zoom it in yourself. Visible satellite. And we're going to go for a 50 frame loop. I want to see if there's any spin. Oh, you could definitely see some spin. Yeah, there is definitely spin. Very, very disorganized, but you can see this whole area in here is spinning. That is definitely a tropical wave. Not very organized right now, but that's exactly how a future tropical storm looks like. Very large area of heightened convection. This will mainly stay off of land. We'll have to watch out towards Baja California, probably over the weekend, but I don't expect much land interaction. All right, let's go back here to Texas. Still some big-time hail, baseball-sized hail falling south of Eden in south central Texas, so make sure you are indoors away from doors and windows. And like I said, it's never a bad idea. Never a bad idea to get to your safe spot when you're under these PDS severes. Just in case, because let me tell you, a baseball flying at 60 miles per hour, falling from the sky and hitting you, yeah, that's why they're PDS severes. Because you don't want to be outside in that. That is for sure. I nearly want to say, like, anything north of this boundary, so anything that's not this cell here, isn't going to do much tonight. I almost want to say that. Don't mark my words on that, because that's definitely a risky call. I doubt we won't see extra development near San Angelo. Let's see. I want to see. So tricky to tell. It's either going to be storms south of the boundary aren't going to do much tornadic activity, or north of the boundary, one or the other. And if they're on the boundary, that's where they have the best chance for tornadoes. Look at that hail spike. That's brutal. That is a big hail spike right there. That is a huge hail spike. And that's for this portion of your hail core right in here, south of Live Oak. I wouldn't be shocked if there's almost probably 3.5 inch hail falling here with that. That is a wild hail spike that just recently appeared. It was a cell merger. See, it got hit by this cell merge here. And once it finished, it rapidly intensified with hail. Thankfully, not with any areas of rotation, though. Like I said, I wonder if that's, like, due to this outflow boundary. What's that gonna do tornadic-wise? I want to say anything, looking a little bit closer at mesoanalysis and where that boundary is located, I want to say anything south of that boundary is not going to be able to become tornadic. That's a big wild card. That is a huge wild card. It might not do anything. Both areas north and south of the boundary may just simply be able to produce tornadic areas of rotation. Or it may do something. Maybe some things north won't be able to. I don't know. That's your wild card for today. Dare you to look at CC. That is just a... That is a crazy hail spike. Pay very close attention to that severe, because they could easily upgrade that to a much larger hailstone, and it would not shock me at all. Let's go back to Mississippi. I want to see if anything's happening there. Yeah, so you can see all these little areas of like pink / red that are together. They're not really that strong, but in the future they could try to spin up areas of rotation and attempt to produce tornadoes later down the line. Hence the Tor possible severe. We did just get a new MCD in front of this, so this goes into Selma, Evergreen, Monroe, Chatham, Jackson, Grove Hill, all these area, Camden, York, Livingston, Butler, in western Alabama. It is the chance for a severe thunderstorm watch to be issued over the next about an hour or so. 40% chance, so likely not going to end up seeing a watch. There's uncertainty on if these wind gusts will continue and how convective trends will evolve, but it will be monitored for the need of an additional small severe watch. So if we do get a severe watch, it'll be a very small one, probably no larger than what this MCD is. I imagine it won't be much larger than just this area in here. Coleman, Texas, or I imagine you're saying Coleman, Texas. So everything south of Coleman right now, you're barely in that tornado watch. Definitely want to stay hyper weather aware. We could easily see additional storm development tonight towards 7 o'clock Central. So right now, everything stays to your south at the moment, but I would definitely keep your guard up. Monitor it just in case things do develop again, which they most likely will. We will most likely see additional storm development at some point. What did you miss? You missed a very, very random strong tornado that looked to be on the ground for about at least 10 minutes in Mississippi. Lofted debris possibly around 7,000 feet up. Looked to be mainly a tree ripper. So hopefully it didn't hit anybody. And then you also missed 2.75-inch hail. So definitely some things, but not as bad as what I missed yesterday. I missed 6-inch hail and potential tornado of the year. So yeah, I've mentioned what's happening in New Mexico. You know, if you're in a severe, just stay away from doors and windows. It's nothing too too over the top. Most of this is just going to be up to 1.5 inch hail and isolated 60-mile-an-hour winds. The tornado threat should be very, very low. Wouldn't fully rule out a tornado, though. I wouldn't fully rule out a tornado somewhere in like this general vicinity over here into the rest of the day and into the overnight hours, but it's not likely. Man, Sam, you ain't getting nothing. Let's see if you're under the gun for some light rain. I wouldn't be shocked if you get some heavy rain tonight. It would not surprise me. If you do, it's going to be, let's see, midnight, 1 a.m. That's about 2:30 a.m. Eastern. And then throughout much of the day tomorrow, you're under the threat for just isolated rain showers. The main day for you, Sam, should be Wednesday. I think you're under the gun on Wednesday. Crap, I lost where you are. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, so Wednesday you're in a marginal risk. Today, thunderstorm risk. Tomorrow, thunderstorm risk. But Wednesday, marginal, so... level 1 out of 5 for much of the state of South Carolina on Wednesday. Main threat should be very small hail, possibly as large as an inch in diameter. And, yeah, also 60-mile-an-hour winds, too. I highly doubt we'll see much of a tornado threat. We'll have to see once we get closer. You never know. There could be a very small chance for a brief spin-up weak tornado somewhere in South Carolina on Wednesday, but I doubt it will be anything notable. Can I... Hold on a second. I'm going to get my analysis radar for that. That's starting to ramp up a little bit more than I would like there on radar. I don't know if radar is completely lying about that. A lot of the times we have corruption on radar. It's basically the radar site lying to us. Bad radar data. And I don't really like the look of that. That looks like it might actually be rotating. If it is, it's still pretty broad. I don't think it is an imminent tornado. Ooh. The owner of Tropical Tidbits has just uploaded a video. He's back. It's tropical time. He hasn't uploaded in 6 months, so that's how you know hurricane season's back, is when he uploads. Man, I can't wait to watch that video. If you don't follow him, I recommend following him on YouTube. Tropical Tidbits is literally the name of his channel. And that would be a tornado warning for this storm in Texas. I had the audio muted, so you guys didn't hear the beep. The little 3 quick beep. There you go. So they did actually tornado warn this. They do believe that that signature could tighten up enough to potentially produce a tornado. So yeah, not a bad idea to warn that. Like I said, it's a little difficult to say if that signature is legit or not. But better safe than sorry. They just tornado warned this from Menard, Texas. Make sure you are in your safe spot. So we'll keep watching that closely. Keep a very close eye on that. See if we get any stronger regions of rotation. Wow. Okay, so this is no longer severe. It is simply just tornado warned for 2.75-inch hail and, of course, the potential for a tornado. So if you're in that warning, make sure you're in your safe spot. 2.75-inch hail and a tornado could drop at any moment. Definitely producing a minimum of 2-inch hail, but could be producing upwards of 2.75-inch hail. I did just see that we got a new severe watch. I think Alabama. Quite a bit larger than I was thinking. That's about 4 counties larger than I was thinking. And it does go even into Montgomery, Alabama, so also quite a bit more east than I was thinking. So there's your new severe thunderstorm watch there, all the way from Livingston, all the way to Chatham, all the way back up into Tallahassee and Montgomery in Alabama. We'll have to wait for the probabilities to come in on that. It takes a little while for WeatherWise to get it because it's so fast. Like, WeatherWise literally gets the watch just 10 seconds after it's issued, so takes it a little while to get the probabilities. Yeah, so you can see green is winds going towards our radar site, which is in San Angelo. So we've got a lot of winds going this way. A lot of winds going this way. And then a lot stronger winds pushing this way. And because of that, when those green and reds meet, that causes a mesocyclone where your greens, winds going towards the radar like that, reds, winds going away from the radar like that. And that's creating a very large area of very weak broad rotation right now, likely nearly over Menard, Texas. Definitely could produce a tornado here over the next few minutes, specifically after it's done with this cell merge. This is a little cell that is impeding on the inflow of our main big Eagle split supercell here. So once that cell merge is done, this will likely attempt at producing a tornado very close to Menard. Very, very close to Menard in Texas. New mesoscale discussion did just get issued, and it is actually a red MCD, which means the better chance for a tornado, for a better chance for a tornado potential. So if we take a look at that really quick. So there's your new MCD. You can see it is indeed a red MCD. Might be a little bit difficult to see, but you can still see the general outline there. And they mentioned the potential for 3 to 4 inch hail, 80-mile-an-hour winds, as well as a couple tornadoes. The greatest giant hail and or tornado risk will be focused across the northeast corner of this MCD. So that goes from about near Coleman back towards Sterling City, and then all the way back down through San Angelo, all the way down till Fredericksburg. So like right there is where it cuts off at. Very approximate highlight. Very, very approximate highlight there. If you want to see the... Actually, I'll just show you the MCD. What am I doing? What am I doing? Show you the MCD, stupid me. There you go. That black hatched area is where the greatest hail and tornado risk persists. And go down here. Couple tornadoes remain possible. And 3 to 4 inch hail. Zoom in on that so you guys know I wasn't lying. 3 to 4 inch hail. They don't mention the damaging wind threat, but if you look back up here, The peak wind gust is 65 to 80, so we will likely see somewhere between 70 to 80 mile an hour winds being our peak wind gust. We've already seen plenty of severes for 60 mile an hour winds, so it would not shock me if we easily approach 70. There you go. What's the weather about to be in Florence, Alabama tonight? Might be raining right now. Let me go see. Yeah, so it's raining right now. Heavier rain rolling through here in about an hour or so. And then additional storm development is possible later tonight. But if we don't see that additional storm development, then you won't see much after about... I mean, you still have rain chances all the way till probably 1 a.m. Central. But the heavy rain chance begins to decrease likely here in about an hour or two. After this passes you, your main rain chances begin to decrease, but it will likely be a light to moderate rain through much of the late evening and into the early overnight hours. Let me see. Can I access this? I just remembered that this is an invest in the Eastern Pacific. So could I go? Man, I have forgotten. The worst thing about switching seasons is trying to remember what websites you used for what season. That is the most annoying thing about switching seasons. That's either a new or an updated tornado warning there. Probably a new one. Yep, new one. Yep, so they did tornado warn this area of rotation north of Enterprise. So southern Meriden, Stonewall, Enterprise in eastern Mississippi now under a radar indicated tornado warning for the next 38 more minutes. Let's see. I can't find this one site that we used to use. You know what? I might have to go watch one of my old my old hurricane live streams. Try to remember what sites we did and didn't use. Even if this isn't producing a tornado, it's probably producing damaging winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour. So you need to be in your safe spot if you're south of Meriden in Mississippi. You need to go check this real quick. Yeah, that definitely could drop a tornado at any moment. Just barely south of Sterling, which is southwest of Meriden, Mississippi. So be in your safe spot there. Get rid of the mesoscale discussions. Try to keep the website a little cleaner. Not a lot worse than a cluttered radar site. This is going to drop a tornado. Well, according to Sam, it already did. I literally just said it's going to drop a tornado because that is definitely a look of a supercell that is about to drop a tornado, if not already has. Go check some chasers real quick. Definitely a very, very large wall cloud. I'm watching a chaser feed right now. Give me a moment, y'all. I want to see how long ago this was. Yeah, it was on the ground probably about 10 minutes ago. Oh, wow. Yeah, it was definitely on the ground. Yeah, 10 minutes ago, this was for sure producing a tornado. It was definitely producing a tornado. Wow, that's a pretty strong vortice, too. So it definitely produced a tornado about 10 minutes ago, barely west of Menard, and it is going to try again. It is going to try again right over Menard. Get our analysis radar up. And this is going to try to drop a tornado directly over Menard, Texas right now. I would not be shocked if this is dropping one. I'm going to have to go cycle through some chasers. See if anybody's got it on the ground at all. Dude, there's so many chasers out here too. Late May is the number one time frame to avoid chasing. Late May, for some reason, it's pretty obvious why. It's always cram-packed for chasing in the plains. New update to our warning. Still radar indicated there. Barely on the southern side and also to the south of Meriden, Mississippi. Let me get a analysis radar site on that again. Okay, that is corruption. Just want to check. But still rotating quite a lot south of Meriden, Mississippi. Could produce at any moment. And then it looks like a tornado just briefly touched back down for the second or even the third time here near Menard in Texas. Large bull funnel in Texas. Yep. Doesn't surprise me. It is put down at least one tornado. Chaser just said a tornado was on the ground like 2 minutes ago, but I didn't get a visual of it, so I couldn't tell if it was on the ground or not. So definitely just had at least one tornado west of Menard, and like I said, once it finished that cell merge, I mean it's really, really cranking now. Might not have much time left though. Big time cell merge about to absolutely destroy it here in about 10 to 15 minutes. That cell merge is going to slam it. Don't really see a way how a cell merge doesn't happen here. Again, wouldn't be shocked if we have a tornado on the ground at any point here. Just to the south of Meriden, Mississippi, going right over Highway 45, south of Wolf Springs in... It's misaligned. In east central Mississippi. Still a tornado warning in effect there. So this likely doesn't have much longer left. If it doesn't try to produce a tornado here in the next 5 minutes, it likely won't for the next about 30 minutes or so until it's done with this cell merge, which probably Probably won't be for a long time. Radar indeed does show a tornado on the ground in Mississippi. That CC, I'm not sure if that CC lines up, but there is a private radar site that does have a tornado debris signature here. So there is indeed a tornado on the ground here south of Meriden, Mississippi. That's probably the debris signature. That is probably your debris signature. So tornado may still be on the ground, but definitely was on the ground south of Meriden in Mississippi. So if you're in this area, Meriden, Mississippi, Enterprise, Stonewall, Snell, that area in a tornado warning tornado was on the ground. May still be on the ground. The radar coverage is not the best, so I can't say for certain, but it was definitely on the ground at one point. So you want to be in your safe spot there. That brings today's tornado count already up to at least 3. At least 3. Because we had that strong one in Mississippi earlier, another one there in Mississippi, and of course one here barely to the west of Menard, Texas, and could have even produced a second one at one point, just I may not be aware of it. I don't think it's the last potential it has. I definitely could see it recycling after the cell merge. So that CC's gone. I don't know if that CC was the tornado, but a private radar site did show a debris signature. I'm unsure if that was a debris signature on our main radar. But we likely had a tornado somewhere around basic Mississippi. Just still be in your safe spot. Like I said, it's difficult to say if it's still on the ground or not with the bad radar coverage here. We're in a good solid radar hole right in this area. These storms will be in a radar hole for at least the next hour. And this cell here, our big cell in Texas, is moving southeast away from radar coverage. So our main storms are moving into radar holes here. Sorry, I'm checking on chasers. So 2 big radar holes. Going to be an issue here. In terms of our next live stream, by the way, I don't know when. I'm not sure when I will be live next. It depends. So another update warning there. Observed. I'm trying to think if I want to get the hurricane season forecast done tomorrow or wait a little longer. That's what it's going to depend on. So tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm 50-50 on it. If I don't stream tomorrow, then I'm likely finishing up the uh, hurricane season forecast. If I do stream tomorrow, then I'll probably push it off a little longer. But I want to try to get it out within the next week. I'm hoping this Thursday. It's still a good area of rotation there, south of Menard in Texas. They never observed this one in Meriden, but I'm very confident we did have a tornado out of this area of rotation, which is currently south of Pleasant Hill, east central Mississippi. Pretty sure it produced a tornado somewhere around Basic, probably about 5 to 10 minutes ago. Main tornadic storms should be the ones that are already dominant and have already produced severe hazards. So the main tornado threat should be with this cell here going towards San Angelo, as well as with this mothership supercell that is going towards Mason. Very, very, very big storm going towards Mason there. It'll be in Mason probably in about an hour, maybe even a little longer than that. Should be a relatively slow-moving storm with the cell merge and just its current trajectory. Another update to a warning. Still radar indicated there in Mississippi. So we'll keep watching these storms here in Mississippi and in Texas. Our main tornadic storms will be in mainly Texas here. So if you're in the tornado warnings, make sure you are in your safe spot. If you're in any of the severes, make sure you're away from doors and windows. Don't go outside at all until that warning is fully lifted. Tornado warning still remains in effect, observed over Menard, Texas. That area of rotation is falling apart now that cell merge is occurring. So I'm probably going to conclude here shortly. I know there's an observed warning that is in place, but I just wanted to hop on here and give you guys an update about this severe weather threat today and tomorrow. Like I said, I'm definitely gonna work on the hurricane season forecast tomorrow. Whether or not I live stream or not, it's 50-50. It's 50-50, but I will definitely see you guys here shortly again. At least a few more times this week. I'm not too sure when I'm going to be live. I'll be back. Don't worry. But I just have a few things I want to finish up for tonight. I have a lot of stuff. Like I said, I've been busy. It's been very, very busy. I'm not sure exactly why, but the last week, and I'm going to continue to be busy for probably at least the next day or two. Or else I would just literally stay here for like 5-6 hours today. But it is an enhanced risk, so I wish I could have been live here for 3 hours, but I'm going to conclude in 6 minutes or so as Lucy tunes in. Lucy, what do you need? You need a forecast update before I head off? Nothing. You got a chance for rain tomorrow? Let's see here. Yep, you got a chance for some rain Wednesday early morning. Wow. Very, very, very eventful out there in St. Louis. Very eventful. Very, very eventful next few days. I'm gonna have to deal with some flooding over here, so... Man, the power better not go out. I got a lot of stuff I need to do. I better not lose no power tomorrow. That would be horrible. Oh, going to Myrtle Beach. Let's see. For the next 2 weeks. So, like, if you want to, you don't have to. If you want to give me a general time frame of when you're leaving. Is it just like you're going for the next 2 weeks? Let me see. Definitely going to have rain tomorrow. Leave June 7th. Oh, wow. Okay, that's far. That's a lot of... There's going to be a lot of uncertainty on that. I'll keep an eye on it, though. For sure. Right now, it doesn't look like too many rain days. Maybe one day full of rain, which would be overnight, June 9th to June 10th. But that's far out, so we'll have to see which way things trend. But I'll definitely keep an eye on it. The heck? The Euro shows a full-blown, like, tropical disturbance hitting the U.S. on June 6th and June 7th. I wouldn't think that'd be a tropical storm, but definitely a tropical low. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on it, Lucy. Yeah, they're going to continue with these tornado warnings here for a long time, so I'm going to head off here and go do a few things. So thank you guys for tuning in. Again, apologies for not covering a lot today, but I at least just wanted to give you a quick update, at least be live for some time. There's other people going live now. Also, Menard, 3.25-inch hail falling out there. So there's other people going live. If you want to go watch them, please go right ahead and do so. Again, just make sure you're watching people who you trust and stay weather aware out there. I'll see you guys in the next live stream that I do. Thank you much for my chat, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Monday night. Stay safe. Goodbye. Stay safe, watch severe weather, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream that I do. Have a